Hey everybody, it's Jared with Big Bone Motorsports here. Let's see, this past weekend was Labor Day weekend, and we were racing at Tyler County Speedway, which is in West Virginia, and we were racing alongside the Lucas Oil late model Hillbilly 100 race, which was a big $25,000 to win late model race there. All the big names were there, a lot of big stacker trailers, a lot of cool stuff there. My plan going into that was run my normal dirt setup. I was running a 373 gear at Brush Creek, and I was thinking over the last couple of weeks that maybe that's too much gear for me there because I'm still spinning my tires a lot. I can't get my right foot to get things figured out. So I was planning on actually running, switching over to 358 for the last race at Brush Creek. But then I was thinking, okay, well, quarter mile, semi-banked, maybe not really banked that much. I was thinking maybe a 373 wouldn't be too bad there. Maybe between that or a 390 or a 410. Not sure. I've ran a 410 and a 333 at quarter mile asphalt tracks, generally flat. But I was kind of lazy, and so I figured 373 would work. So I kept the 373 in, kept my normal dirt setup on there. So I didn't really change anything. Let's see, it was a 4-hour drive to get there. The race was on Sunday, which was cool because we had Monday off anyway for Labor Day. So I get there and it's at a fairgrounds, and man, there were campers everywhere. I mean, people had been setting up shop. I don't know, 100 campers, 200 campers there. It was crazy cool. Tons of fans, and of course you're driving your trailer to the pits, which were all the way at the back of the fairgrounds. So you're driving past all the fans having fun and kids and all that kind of stuff. So to me, that's like one of the fun things. It was fantastic. A great vibe from the fans. A ton of fans there. Obviously, they're all there to see the late models, but it was cool just to have that atmosphere. To me, that's one of the fun things about racing, is that fun atmosphere and fans and kids and all that kind of stuff. So so that was cool. I got there, didn't realize there's like no cell phone reception. Eventually figured out there was somebody there selling, somebody with the fairgrounds selling Wi-Fi access for $5. So of course I bought the Wi-Fi access. But then I had to run back because we were getting ready to go out for our hot laps, and I couldn't figure out how to get it to work. So I was getting frustrated, couldn't access anything. I did do a walkthrough video of the pits, which you'll have to check our YouTube channel. That should be up before this video gets posted, just so you can kind of see the pits and all the excitement that was going on there. So either way, the original plan before we got there was that we would run a little hot lap session, then we'd run heat races, and then we'd run a 20-lap feature race. And the feature race was scheduled to be right after the Lucas Oil late model 100-lap big race that they were having there, which was cool. Most likely the most fans would still be there, all that kind of stuff. But once I got there, I guess there was a decision made to, instead of running heat races, and they would have started by pill draw and then a feature, they decided to run a 15-lap feature started by pill draw, and a 20-lap feature started by pill draw, which I didn't think much of it at the time. In hindsight, I think that was one of the things that ended up frustrating me. So we drew pills, or did the random number stop thing, and we had 22 cars there, and no joke, the first 15-lap feature I was starting 15th out of 22, and the second feature I was starting 17th out of 22. So I was like, oh crap, you know, that's kind of sucks. At least with heat races, the chance to move up would at least have given me a better opportunity in the feature race. And pretty much in a heat race, every car that you pass is worth 2 positions in the feature. So that would have been more fun, I think, but you know, that's only because I'm the guy who got 2 crappy starting spots. So either way, first race, so we went out there, did our hot laps. I think we got 3 hot laps. Couldn't tell really anything. Track looked fun. Looked a little bit more banked than it was. but it looked like it was entertaining. Looked like it was going to use a lot of brakes, so heavy on the gas and then brake to get the car to turn. And so it was fun. Go out there for our first feature, the 15 laps, which was not really the main feature for us. We had a big trophy and all this kind of stuff for the second feature. First feature, I think, was a $100 gift card on the line there. Go out there. I'm starting 15th, and I don't know if you call that a heavy track or it wasn't really muddy because it wasn't like soupy wet, but man, they flew the green flag, and it was probably down the back stretch. I was using my first tear-off. Mud was flying everywhere. It was sticking on everything. It was crazy. I probably went through 5 or 6 tear-offs in 15 laps. Now, there was one caution, which gave me a chance to do a tear-off there. But my camera, you can imagine my front-facing camera didn't last a lap before it was completely caked in mud. So I didn't get any video of that. Fun. Starting 15th, it took me a little bit to get the hang of how I was running the track. I ended up passing 5 or 6 cars. I don't know what the official finish was. They never posted that. But I finished somewhere around 10th. So that was pretty good in 15 laps, finishing or lapping or not lapping, passing 5 to 6 cars was great. By the end of it, and I'll post a picture now. But by the end of it, you can see that the whole front of my car was caked in mud. My windscreen, my wire windscreen, was probably about 50% covered in mud. It was hard to see, and it was a blast, man. I was running the bottom, and I was getting under people. It was fantastic. So that was pretty good fun. Then we were waiting for our main feature race. And they had to run, I think some other groups did qualifying. Then I'm not sure if it was 9:30 or 10 o'clock. They got the Lucas Oil late models out there. They had a full field, small track for, I think they had 22, 24, 25 cars, late models out there to run 100 laps. And I don't know if I watched the race. There was a lot of cautions in that thing. I stopped watching like 45 minutes into the race, and they hadn't made it 45 laps. It was just bad. I've been part of some bad Legends races. I think the famous Lap 3 Pizza, Greg Hewald, our former promoter in the Midwest Series, he used to give us a hard time because we had one race at Kentucky where we couldn't get past Lap 3 without a caution. And he said that, damn, I could order pizza and get it delivered here before you guys would even get lap 3 finished. So it was nice to see that these best drivers in the world are just as bad as us sometimes, right? So it was okay. So anyway, we were supposed to go right after them. So we started getting ready, and then one of our folks came around who was kind of helping coordinate all them. Came over and said, hey, they wanted to run one other race before us. We're like, okay, fine, whatever, we're here. We can't really argue with it, right? So the late models got done, and then they had some modifieds line up, so we all get in our cars, and we all get lined up, and we're lined up right behind there, and they let the modifieds go out, and I'm thinking it was like a qualifying race or B main or something like that. And then they let another modified group go out, and at that point I see some of the other guys get out of their cars. I'm like, what in the heck's going on? One of them comes down, and in fact Steve came down, was talking to me, and was like, well, they want to run 4 more heat races with the modifieds before they put us on the track. And it's, you know, what can we do? We can't argue with them, right? So I don't know why, but they ended up running 6 8-lap heat races. And those were just as bad. Of course, I had my receiver and I wasn't watching. I was in my car. But those had to have been just as bad as the late model race. I don't know if there was a single race that had less than 2 cautions. 8 laps, 6 cars. It had at least 2 cautions, sometimes more. So that took forever. And they got done right around 12:30, 12:45, or the last group went out. And with 1 lap to go, they had a caution. And over the receiver, the track comes and tells them, all right, we're just going to call this race. The fog's getting bad. You know, so this race is over. And I'm thinking, well, that doesn't sound so good. We're all lined up. We've been lined up here for, who knows, 45 minutes or more, ready to go. And I'm thinking, well, it's all right. You know, maybe once we get out there and we can get 22 cars going, the fog will lift, won't be a big deal. And then I see up at the front of the line, because I'm starting at the back, Steve get out of his car. And I'm like, what the hell? And I kind of lost it at that moment. You know, I don't know. They must have, they at that point, I figured that they called it. I saw drivers starting to turn around, go back. A couple drivers went up onto the track to get back to the pits. But it was very obvious that they called the night. It's 12:45 at night, and they called the races, and we weren't going to be able to run our feature. And normally I'm very composed. I'm very good at you know, emotional stability and all that kind of stuff. But I friggin' lost it. I was livid. I went up to the track to take the track back to get back to the pits, and I pull out on the track, and I swear to God I didn't see a lick of fog. I could see from one end of the track to the other perfectly fine. Maybe it was dew or moisture from the fog on the track, but heck, 3 or 4 laps with 22 cars just piddling around would have gotten rid of that. And so once I pulled onto the track, seeing no fog, I lost it. I freaking went crazy. I didn't go crazy, but I was so livid. I freaking pull out on the track. I'm revving my motor. I hit the rev limiter. I'm freaking flying down, spinning and pulling up, and you know, doing a burnout as much as you can on dirt, leaving the freaking track, and we're going down the back, and there's cars stopped, and I fly around them, and I'm revving my motor, and you know, sliding into my pits, and freaking just pissed off, and I get out, and I'm mad, and I take my steering wheel. I wanted to throw it, but I didn't want to get it dirty, so I slammed it on the hood of my car, or the roof of my car, and you can see I done bent my steering wheel. I was freaking mad. I was livid. But I wasn't mad because of the fog. I was mad because I didn't see any fog, but what I was really mad about was, in my opinion, a blatant disregard for our respect for out-of-town racers or for a traveling group. I think the closest person that drove to the track was 4 hours away, and I think the furthest one, I heard some of the guys came from Pennsylvania, were 6 hours away. So you're talking minimum 4 hours, maximum 6 hours, or at least minimum 4 hours. And the modifieds that they were running their heat races for were mostly local guys, and they were running B mains and A mains the following day, which meant that they could have run their heat races the following day. All those drivers were already going to be there the next day. And there was no reason why they would have bumped us to run 6 heat races and then go through all this stuff. Now, and that's what it was. It was the fact that they bumped us to run the heat races. That's the disrespect for us. Not only that, but crying out loud, we all have to drive 4 to 6 hours to get back home, right? To me, that is completely disrespectful. It is completely obvious to me that according to that promoter or whoever was running that track that night, doesn't really give a crap about us. And I've seen this a lot of times. The legends are subjected to it quite a bit. Even in a traveling series, which I've been up until this year, I've always been in a traveling series. We never had a home track. So we would only go to a track maybe once a month, sometimes once every couple months, and we're pretty much disrespected. If there was anything that went over, Legends practices got cut off, or if the night was running long, they would cut back the Legends feature laps, or things like that. And it just completely upset me. It told me that this promoter there really doesn't care about us coming back, doesn't want us to, would rather keep his modified drivers happy than maybe getting Legends drivers involved and all that kind of stuff. So completely irate. I do need to apologize to my fellow competitors. For me, I had a temper tantrum there. I apologize for that. I imagine a couple of them probably wanted to stay away from me because I was, huffing and puffing and all that kind of crap and driving stupid in my car. But I just, I criticize a lot of promoters. I criticize a lot of tracks. But I'll tell you, like, one of the things Brush Creek guys do, and they say it in the drivers meetings, and I fully respect it, is that, hey, if there's a traveling series here, we're going to have them run their features first so that they can get out of here and get home. They're obviously driving the most. Now, I probably drive the most for any of the local drivers at Brush Creek, but that's my problem. Most of the drivers in the Legends and the late models or Legends and the modifieds and all that there are local guys. And as much as I don't like it, it makes sense and it's respectful to a traveling series to run them earlier in the show so that they can actually get home. Now, at Tyler County Speedway, we weren't the feature show. Don't get me wrong, I knew that. But running us right after the late models as scheduled would have been preferred, and I think that would have been the most respectful thing to do, and it was on the schedule that way, and somebody switched it up, and they didn't give a crap about us. So, that's frustrating. The other thing I heard, and this just irks me off, is that while I'm sitting in my car listening to my receiver, they're talking to the modified drivers as they go out there, and they're like, hey, we've got a race coming up next weekend at Skyline Speedway or wherever, and really need you guys to support the series and come there. And it just like crawls under my skin. We all know that local tracks are dying across the U.S. Particular asphalt tracks are dying more than dirt tracks. Dirt seems to be kind of holding its own right now and doing pretty good. But there's a lot of local tracks that just can't keep up anymore. I don't know if it's, what it's going on, but for a local promoter to tell the drivers, hey, you guys need to support the series and do this is absurd. It's the same philosophy that I've heard from other track owners and track promoters talking to fans, and they're saying, hey, if you don't want our track to get closed down, you need to come watch the races. You need to come support your local racetrack. You know what? No, I'm sorry, dude. I'm a businessman myself, and I think that you need to provide a product that entices fans to come watch the races. They're not obligated to come watch your races, and if you close down your track, it's the fans' fault because they didn't show up. No, it's your fault as a promoter. If you can't get the fans to come, if you can't operate your business in a manner to actually to make money or to keep it running, that's not the customer's fault, and it's certainly also not the driver's fault. I mean, if you disrespect me as a driver, why the heck would I want to come? You know, I'm not going to support your series just because you need support. You know, make it fun, make it good, make it worth my while. We all spend, all of us, none of us make money. There's a couple of people out there, not in Legends for sure, but maybe the big late model guys make some money. But we all do this. We spend our hard-earned money doing this stuff, and getting disrespected at the track or being told that it's our duty to support this stuff, to me is absolute BS. And I'm sick and tired of hearing it, and I'll tell you, I think that's why our local tracks are dying, because the promoters no longer promote. They no longer make it exciting. They no longer have the big races. They no longer draw in the families and the fun stuff and the kids, and there's nobody has a reason to go to the racetrack anymore because the promoters suck. And that's not all of them. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've seen numerous great racetracks and some great promoters, but I'll tell you, the majority of them, they're just not doing a very good job. And then they put all that blame on the fans or on the drivers, and it's like, dude, you're running your business here. If you run it into the ground, that's nobody else's fault other than your own. So either way, I'll get off my soapbox. You see I'm getting worked up on this stuff. So either way, I'm not running this upcoming weekend, and I'll tell you why in a little minute. I have a work event the following weekend early on Saturday. If the schedule works out, I'm going to try to run Indianapolis Speedrome that Saturday night, which is an asphalt, a 5th mile, I think, asphalt track in Indianapolis. And then the week after that, I believe we have a dirt Florence race, which I've been really looking forward to. And then we have our last local dirt race at Brush Creek. So that'll be, if I can make it to the Speedrome, it'll be Speedrome, Florence, and then Brush Creek. And then hopefully later in October, go down to Atlanta Motorsports Park for a road course race. We'll see, but that's the plan right now. Now, the reason why I'm not racing this upcoming weekend is, and you can kind of see here that I've cleaned the garage a little bit more. I am going up to Pennsylvania to pick up a new project that I bought, or that I'm buying. It's a 1929 Model A Ford Tudor, and I'll post a picture here. Not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. I've been wanting, I like antique cars. This will be my first, well, technically my second one. I did own a 1946 Chevy 2-ton truck, but that was a piece of junk. So either way, I'm not sure. I think right now I'm going to just get it running and driving, and then I'm either going to do a resto mod kind of thing where it maybe looks original, but put like I was contemplating a blown inline 6-cylinder motor in it, or maybe kind of chopping it a little bit, lowering it down, and making like an autocross car slash hot rod slash rat rod kind of thing. I don't know, we'll see. But hopefully next week when I do my video, there'll be a brand new, well, not brand new, a really old Model A here that I'll at least show you guys a little bit. So other than that, I think I don't know what that's going to mean for racing next year. Right now I am planning on running some special events at least next year. I'm not going to run for points. I kind of already decided I'm not running this year for points. I'm probably not ever going to run for points again. It's just too much of a commitment and stressful to me. But I'll probably, if I don't sell the car in the off season, kind of depending on what I do with the Ford, I'll probably run at least some special events next year, both asphalt and dirt. We'll see how much I like the road course racing. If I like that, maybe I'll do a little bit more of that also next year. So if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and fill them out below. And we'll talk to you guys next week. Thank you.